Shavua Tov, Israel Briefers all around the world. Welcome to a new week of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, right here in the center of Israel, where I bring you the news from Israel that you won't see in the mainstream media. Now, today you might have heard a loud whoop of joy echo around the world. Yes, those were Israeli parents celebrating the first day of school, as over 2 million Israeli children went back to school. And we wish them a wonderful year, a peaceful year. May it be a year of great memories and good experiences. Heaven knows the last 2 years have been extremely difficult for you, the children of Israel, the children who the world has forgotten. Now, if you are new to the Israel Brief, welcome to it. And a reminder that we broadcast every Monday to Thursday at this very address, and we do it in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, today marks day 696 since the 7th of October, since that darkest day in Israel's history, where we saw the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust on our soil. On that day, Hamas also took captive over 250 people as hostages, men, women, children, the elderly, and whole families. To date, 48 hostages remain captive in the Gaza Strip, and more about that a little later in the show. Yesterday, Israel also marked a devastating landmark, and that is 900 fallen soldiers. 900 brave men and women have fallen in defense of the state of Israel since the 7th of October. They are forever missed and forever honored in our memories. So let's take a look at those top stories, and we begin with news that the IDF struck a facility in Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, just a few days ago, and eliminated the top level of the Houthi military and other officials. Now, it has been confirmed that the Houthi prime minister was eliminated along with several Houthi cabinet members. We're still waiting for the confirmation on exactly which ones were taken out. Now, I want to be very, very clear. The Houthis are not a legitimate government. The Houthis are an Iranian-backed terrorist organization, internationally recognized terrorist organization, and this is not the official government of Yemen, who I'm sure are relieved that Israel carried out the strike. Nevertheless, the Houthis have been responsible for the firing of hundreds of ballistic missiles towards Israeli civilian centers, as well as drones, and have also disrupted shipping in the Red Sea, which has accounted for a lot of you around the world experiencing a rising cost in the goods that you purchase. And just 2 weeks ago, the Houthis fired a cluster munitions missile towards Israel. That is a cluster bomb, illegal and considered a war crime. And they learned a lesson over the weekend that you cannot fire at Israeli civilians without repercussions. Meanwhile, Israel has heightened security around our government officials and our security cabinet for fear of Houthi reprisals. Meanwhile, the Houthis claimed responsibility for an attack on the oil tanker, the Scarlet Ray, earlier this morning. 250 media outlets from 70 countries have joined together in an extremely well-coordinated campaign led by Reporters Without Borders. Now, this is the front page silent campaign. In other words, the front pages of all these media outlets will be blank today. They say in solidarity of all the journalists who have been killed in Gaza. In fact, they outright blame Israel for killing all the journalists. Now, we got wind of this campaign when an email was leaked yesterday, and I just want to give kudos to all of those on Israel's side who have been exposing this carefully coordinated campaign on social media, which goes to show that a lot of our media, which is why you guys are coming to me for news, a lot of our media are breaking our trust because they cannot be termed impartial anymore. They are now embarking more on activism and on politics than they are on journalism. And it has been confirmed, complete with the evidence made public to them by the IDF, that the vast majority of journalists in Gaza that have been killed are card-carrying members of Hamas. If you are broadcasting for the Hamas Al-Quds network or receiving a salary from Hamas, as has been made evident, you are no longer an impartial journalist. Meanwhile, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar tweeted out that this is evidence of the coordinated anti-Israel campaign by the media and that it was politics and not journalism. Now, at the beginning of the show, you heard me mention that we have 48 hostages that remain in captivity. We believe 20 are still alive and 28 are deceased, either having been murdered on the 7th of October or murdered in captivity, with the exception of Hadar Golden, who was killed in action in Operation Protective Edge in 2014. Hamas have been holding his remains for now over 11 years. Now, over the weekend, the IDF, in conjunction with the ISA, that's the Israel Security Authority, or the Shabak, conducted an operation inside Gaza. We don't know exactly where, and they recovered the remains of 2 hostages. Ilan Weiss, who was part of the Kitat Konenut from Kibbutz Be'eri. The Kitat Konenut were the active response team, and Idan Shtivi, his partial remains were found very close by. He was abducted from the Nova Music Festival. It was believed that he had double-backed to help a couple get to safety and paid with his life. Now, it took several days for the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute to identify Shtivi's remains, and today both Ilan Weiss and Idan Shtivi will be laid to rest. In fact, as we speak, people are lining the funeral route for Idan's funeral, lining it with flags and signs that say, "We are sorry we couldn't bring you home alive." And I just want to take a moment and pay tribute to Dr. Chen Kugel and his team at the Abu Kabir Forensic Institute. This is the National Forensic Institute of Israel. I cannot imagine how horrific the task of identifying the remains of our hostages are, how traumatic and painful it is for you. But Dr. Kugel, you and your team do holy work. You bring our hostages home, you help lay them to rest, and you give their families a place where they can weep and where they can have closure, and we thank you. May the memories of Ilan Weiss and Idan Shtivi be forever blessed. Meanwhile, Hamas confirmed several months after he was killed that the brother of Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Sinwar, had been killed by IDF forces, and yesterday the IDF announced that they had killed or taken out a high-value Hamas target. It is believed to be Abu Obaida, the spokesperson of Hamas, who had boasted that he was untouchable. It turns out he was pretty touchable, and as Prime Minister Netanyahu said, there was a delay in the announcement because there's no one left in Hamas to be a spokesperson. And finally, in what can only be described as monumental courage, Sabine Ta'assa, who is the wife of the late Gil Ta'assa, along with Prime Minister Netanyahu and the government press office on Friday, gave permission for the CC camera footage that was taken of her husband Gil and her sons on the 7th of October to be made public. Now, the government press office and the Tassa family have asked that the evidence not be broadcast in Israel. It's far too traumatic. I have seen it because I'm a member of the press. But it is out there in the mainstream media, and I urge every single one of you to see it. It is profoundly, profoundly distressing to watch. But it is important. Sabine, especially as people have forgotten the events of the 7th of October and have denied it, wants the world to remember what happened to her family. What the video shows, it's captured from the CCTVs in their house and just outside of their house. It shows Gil, who was a firefighter, when the sirens rang out in the morning of the 7th of October, rushing his two children, Corinne, 12 years old at the time, and Shai, 8 years old at the time, to the bomb shelter that was just outside. You can see in the footage the Hamas terrorists coming in, throwing a grenade, and Gil absorbing the blast with his body, giving up his life to save the lives of his boys. These are images that I cannot get out of my mind. I have seen this once, and it is burned into my soul, and it's important we talk about it because it's important that you know exactly why we are fighting this war and who we are fighting against. You see Hamas forcing the two little boys inside the house. They are wearing their underwear. Little Shai's one eye's blown out of his socket. And what is absolutely devastating is hearing Corinne crying, "Daddy, my daddy, this isn't a prank. Why am I still alive? I didn't want to die like this." And the Hamas terrorists walk calmly to the fridge, open it up, take out a bottle of Coke or whatever, drink from it, and say to the children, "Do you want juice or wine?" Imagine offering two little boys wine in this time where you can see they are extremely, 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 extremely distressed. What many people don't realize is that the oldest son, Or, had gone to Zikim Beach nearby to surf and took shelter in a nearby public toilet with several other people when the attack began. And he was found shot 6 times in the head by Hamas terrorists. Who does that? So we can honor Sabine and we can honor the memories of Gil and Or by making sure the world sees the footage. Now again, I want to stress it's not up on our Facebook, but if you go to the New York Post or the Sun or the Daily Mail, you can see Sabine Tassa, Taasa. You can see the horrific footage over there. So guys, those are our top stories. Let's take a look at the audience question, and it comes from Celine in Los Angeles. Hello, LA. And she says, any updates on Trump's Gaza plan? Well, actually, we heard over the weekend President Trump speaking more about his plan, saying that he's prepared to pay Gazans, I think it's about $5,000 to relocate so that the Gaza Strip, the remaining ordnance can be destroyed and the Strip rebuilt, but after Hamas is totally eradicated. Now, I don't know if we can totally eradicate Hamas, but the president wants an end to Hamas and the ability to reconstruct Gaza, which he says will become the Gaza Riviera. So those are our top stories, and a reminder to you, if you have any questions, please to send them via our website or via our various social media. I have already started to receive nominations for the Mention Moron of the Week. So if you have nominations, guys, get them to me via social media or via our website. And a reminder that our website is at www.layoftheland.online. Our YouTube channel right here is at the Israel Brief. Please can you help us get over the 2,000 subscribers hump by clicking on that red subscribe button. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks, on Facebook at Lottle's site, on Substack at Rolene Marks, and on X at Lay of the Land 5. Guys, God bless you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.